Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're just going to be kind of talking about vocal production, vocal mixing, vocal editing, and I kind of want to just take you into my headspace, the way I'm processing stuff, why I try to de-ess by hand, automation, all that stuff. I am going to do a full breakdown of this mix. I just got to get permission because I don't want it to get taken down. So as soon as that clears, I'm going to record the video anyways. Um, and maybe I'll just try to upload it and see what happens. I think if I don't play the song all at once, I should be good or whatever. But if you want to see that, subscribe, turn notifications on, be ready for it. Because if anything, it'll probably be out by Monday at the earliest. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this track. It's a song. It's already out. Came out about 2 weeks ago now, or a week ago. It's by an artist that I work with on the regular, Leo Rising. He recorded it, produced it, did everything himself. I mix and mastered it. It's out everywhere. I'll link it in the description below, so you should go check it out. It's a really good song. I like his music. I always like working on his stuff, and it was cool to work on something that he did 100% himself. And I just pretty much mixed it and everything sounded good. And like I said, I'll do a breakdown of it and we'll go through every little detail of that mix. And also, it's a good way for you to see my workflow, see my template, which if you're interested in this template, well, I'll kind of go through it today. It is for sale on my website, description below. 20 bucks until the end of the month. After that, it's going to go up to 100. Said in my last video, I'm super grateful for everybody that purchased one. I did not expect as many people to buy it, so I appreciate everybody that got it. If you haven't seen my last video, I talk about how I got an Apollo Twin, so I'm going to be making a UAD updated mix and recording template specifically for the UAD console as well. So I'm going to make two separate templates, and I'll go ahead and make a video on that. And if you want to purchase it, those will be up hopefully in the next couple weeks or so. So anyways, we're just focused on vocals today. I'm going to go through my chain a little bit. I'm going to go through why I like hand de-essing, because I made a story a couple weeks ago on why I like it, and it seemed like people were super interested. So I was like, you know what, let me just make a video about it in the future. And this is the video. So let me go ahead and play the vocals. Like I said, I think I should be fine. It shouldn't get taken down or anything like that. But if you want to hear the full track before that video drops, go check it out in the description below. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, all that stuff. I follow everybody back. A lot of people have been following me and stuff. So yeah, but anyways, let me play the vocal. And I'm going to play it without all the processing first, just so you can hear how it came to me. Like I said, recorded, produced. He left all his effects on there unless it was reverb or delay. I think he sent me that without those effects on most of the vocals. I can't remember off the top of my head, but EQ, processing, any tuning. I think he uses Logic. He probably used like, it sounds like Logic tuning or whatever. I could be totally wrong, but yeah, had no control over that, which was totally fine because I'm not the producer on the track and it's not my job to do that. I just want to try to make what was given to me sound as good. And I honestly even gave him props. I was like, dude, it sounds really good. You did a good job for, you know, your understanding of recording and all that stuff, because we would always talk about that when we're in the studio. But anyways, let me play. I'm blabbering.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe. Yeah. Draw the blinds open wide, I wanna be seen. Take another Polaroid.
Boom. So you get the gist. So that was actually the version. As you can see, there's a lot of cuts happening, and I'll play a version without my hand de-essing and stuff. But you can see, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I'm basically just going through, and you can see it's pretty obvious what S's, T's, P's, stuff like that looks like visually, and you can kind of just go through quickly and do quick little chops. Maybe I could have done that there, but you know, the idea is also not to do every little thing that you see visually. Obviously, you want to listen and be like, all right, what S's are sticking out to me? Anything that a de-esser would do, essentially. And the reason for this is because I think, obviously, first thing is it's going to sound more natural if you do it correctly. Do enough, don't do too much, because you don't want to at the end of the day, you don't want to give somebody a lisp. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just think it sounds more natural. Obviously, de-essers are totally fine with using, but I just don't think they work great all the time. And there's never, in my opinion, a middle. Even though the de-esser I'll talk about today is still my favorite de-esser that I've found so far, and I think it works great. I also just don't want my de-esser to work as hard, just like anything else. Like if compression and stuff like that, I go through and clip gain stuff if needed because I don't want my compressor doing all the work, if that makes sense. I just always try to make, you know, compressors not work as hard and vocals to sound as natural as possible. I mean, that's pretty much the goal for the most part, unless it's something intentional. So yeah, you can see pretty much, and then not even this is, just the verse lead. You can see right here, everything I went through. That was my alarm. Whoops, all good. But besides all the vocal stuff, which we're focused on today, you can see this is pretty much what my sessions end up looking like. You can see all the automation I do, and this is just volume automation. So maybe there's other panning and stuff. Maybe there's like effect throws. You can see that going ahead and using automation with just standard automation, using trim automation, all that stuff if it's needed. So like here, did a little bit of volume trim. Which I'm super glad they added that into Pro Tools Studio because it used to only be an Ultimate feature, I believe, and it's super helpful. But yeah, so just a little thing on that. You can see what my sessions end up looking like and stuff by the end of a mix. So yeah, and I also mastered in the session. I was honestly like just vibing already, and I was just like, it's already pretty loud the way I mix it. It's just such a fun track. And yeah, I just ended up mastering it in the session, which I totally forgot I did that until I opened it up because I mixed this in January, December, I think. But yeah, you can see all my little notes and stuff that I did as well. But anyways, back to vocals. We'll do a breakdown video. I'll do a mastering video too on it, as long as it doesn't get taken down. So let me play it now with the de-esser first so we can see how much of a difference it's doing. Or hold on. Let me play the original. So here's the original, right? You can see all the S's. Look at this. And if I zoom out just a little bit more, you can see all the little S's that peak visually. Like I said, obviously you don't want to work off visual stuff. You still want to go through and listen and make sure that you're, doing what you're supposed to be doing and doing the correct thing. So here's this
Stories high,
versus this.
stories high,
So you can hear a huge difference already, obviously.
stories high.
So you can do this with clip gain, like breaking the clips. I personally don't like using or showing the clip line. So like here, like I know people do it this way too. But I don't know. I just don't like, I used to work this way. I just don't like seeing the huge line or whatever. So either way, if you were wondering why mine looks different too, it's just because I turned the clip, I hide the line pretty much. So yeah, so obviously with that little demonstration, you can hear huge difference. Not even using a de-esser. Obviously, like I said, you want to go through and make sure you're not doing too much because you don't want to make them sound lispy, and you're also doing enough because you don't want to, you know, spike someone's ears in their AirPods or something because that's really where it's noticeable. Is going to be like any smaller or cheaper speaker like that. So now with the de-ess,
Stories high in the sky, we can hide.
and if you're not familiar with this is the Sonics Oxford Super De-esser. I think it sounds the most transparent and natural. Obviously, there's way more controls that I don't even utilize that this thing is capable of doing. I just pull the threshold down, find my area, fine tune it with these two little things, these two little bars, and make it more narrow, make it more wide, as you can see right here. And then another reason I bought it, if you're new to my channel, I do use an HDX besides an Apollo. I have an Avid Carbon, so I can record in Pro Tools using DSP. And I like to use Sonic stuff because they offer DSP versions, which this allows me to track with a de-esser in real time and, get things closer to a finished mix as much as possible. So that is another big reason why I like to use this de-esser specifically. So
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with
and it's like, obviously, sure, we're in solo. It sounds more DS than it is. There also is doubles and BGVs in this song. So that's another thing too. And heard this or learned this from Manny Mer. No, not Manny Marroquin. Uh, what's the other guy's name? I forgot the other guy. I'll put his face on the thing. I don't know why I'm blanking. I shouldn't blank on his name. He's an OG. Oh, Tony Maserati. I remember watching a video years ago when I was like in college or something, where he said that not what did he say? Something like not every vocal track needs to be heard. Like you only need one S. So it's like either decide basically to turn down the S's on the lead or the doubles. I usually do shoot for the doubles or any BGVs, anything that's being sung with the lead vocal or chorus, whatever the case is. Anything that's supporting it, I have to choose which is going to be de-essed pretty hard, or if not, pretty much completely gone. Just because obviously you can see these S's aren't lined up. Sure, it could have went in if I had more time, if I wanted to, and lined all the tracks up, lined all the DS's up and stuff like that. But that's also just not the vibe of all tracks and stuff. They don't need to be super perfect. This is not 2010 anymore. I feel like a lot of people don't do that anymore. They just kind of leave it raw and just leave it as is. So that's another reason too, is that because we're in solo, you can't forget that we also have these doubles and stuff, which I left the S's on. Obviously I have a de-esser on right here, but I'm not going in and hand de-essing. So I'm letting the S's still live. They're just going to take place of the lead vocal. Hopefully that's the end goal, if that makes sense. So like I said, it's going to sound different because we're in solo. Everything's going to sound different. We're in solo, but when you hear the track together, go listen to for yourself. Go stream it or whatever and check it out, and you'll hear it's not as SE hopefully as it should be. At least I didn't think it was. So just wanted to make that clear. Just don't forget that we're in solo right now, and it's going to sound a little bit more SE. But I just want to show you an example of like how much harder the de-esser will work. Visually, you'll see.
Stories high.
So just that first S, I like to
Stories high.
focus on that. So we're at gain reduction a little past 6.
Stories high.
Almost 9.
Stories high.
Okay, we'll say 6. We'll say 6. And then versus now with my edit,
Stories high in the
not
sky.
even hitting 3.
Stories high in the
So hopefully that's a good example of why and what I mean when I'm saying I don't want to have my plugins, in this case the de-esser, work as hard. Same idea with compression. Just don't want it doing all this work. I just think it sounds a little bit more natural this way, and it's just less you got to rely on plugins. And it's like I mean, you can see it's very minimal as far as like the main plugins I'm using, and then obviously these are like my sweeteners. That's how I like to think of these, which we'll talk about. And yeah, so I'm just trying to explain it as clear as possible, and hopefully it's making sense. So before the de-esser, usually these days I am throwing the de-esser on the first instance of my vocal chain. I think that's how it is in my template as well, my current template right now that's up on my website. And the reason I do that is because I just have this mindset of like, if I could de-ess on the way in and trust myself to do it, or if there was a microphone that had like a built-in de-esser, someone work on that. That would be sick. And that just I just feel like the S's are going to be, besides frequencies, chest frequencies, mid-range, whatever the case is, S's are always going to stand out. You're always going to try, no matter what, everybody can agree, we're trying to tame those as much as possible, if not eliminate them for the most part. Just got to make sense for the song. But so yeah, that's just my mindset. It's just like, if it's not a really good recording, especially, or if the microphone wasn't the best fit for the vocalist, then we need to take care of those problems first before I start EQing compression, adding compression, because obviously once you start compressing, I like to compress a little bit harder than what the internet, I guess, would say most people do. I think everybody's compressing a lot more these days, but you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, because I do compress a little bit more, those S's are going to be more prominent because that's just how compression affects stuff when it comes to anything bright. In this case, we're talking about S's. So it just tends to push those out a little bit more. So I just like to do all that kind of stuff before I start adding my compression and EQ. And like I said, then it's just less that I have to worry about. I'm just trying to tame a very annoying, important thing that needs to be done in vocal mixing that, yeah, it's just a pain. So I just like to do that first. But it looks like I started with the SSL first. And another reason that could be is because maybe that was the first thing I did. I just started hand de-essing everything, and I was like, yeah, maybe it's fine. And maybe I just felt like I needed just a little bit more de-essing than me going back through. And usually that is the mindset, is like, how much can I go before I come back and I'm like, yeah, maybe it just needs a little bit more de-essing. So let me go ahead and throw a de-esser on something light. And you can see, obviously, I just demonstrated a minute ago is that um, it's not working as hard. It's just something like a light little touch just to help it out a little bit. So maybe that's why, another reason that looks the way it did. Maybe I just had the SSL and LA2A or something. I don't know. Um, but whatever. It is what it is. And hopefully that explanation helps. So we have this SSL 4KG from Solid State Logic. I really like this one. It's either between this or the UAD. Definitely enjoying this one a little bit more just because I love the preamp on this. You can see I have my preset already made. If you want this preset for yourself, obviously you can screenshot this or whatever. It is also in my template. And if you own this plugin, that preset will show up and then you can save it on your computer. But yeah, otherwise, more than happy to whatever, do what you need to do. But it's really just, this preset just starts off with a little bit of low end boost or low end cut and or filter, and then the preamp starting point and the compressor starting point, and then I'll adjust my release. Usually my release stays here, honestly. I mean, just such a good compressor. And yeah, just looks like adding no top end, cutting out a little bit of upper mid range, a little bit of 1K, 2K almost, 1.5, and then that's pretty much it. And let's see how much compressing we're doing.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know chemistry.
So that's usually where I like to sit. Honestly, sometimes the SSL compressor will just be my compressor for the most part, and then I just use the LA2A as like a tone box. I just think this compressor sounds really good. It honestly, it doesn't really matter what SSL channel strip you use, in my opinion. They just all work very similar, even up to like the newer channel strips, like the K or the J or anything like that. Um, those compressors still sound good. So if you don't have an SSL channel, you should definitely get one. I think SSL should, I know Waves has one, but SSL needs to come out with just a standalone. Like, I know I have another SSL compressor that they own, but I think if they just did a standalone, just how they do the 500 series, that would be sick. But yeah, not too much compression, and release stayed the same, and it looks like I'm using the fast.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe. Yeah, draw the blinds open wide, I wanna be seen.
So yeah, it
Taking
just sounds like, obviously because it's faster, it's just grabbing onto the vocal and those transients just a little bit more, just to kind of keep it tamed, if that makes sense. And yeah, like I said, that's pretty much it. This is also important down here. Don't ever overlook these on SSL channel strips. The order of operations, as far as like, do you want to filter first, then EQ, then dynamics? This is my typical setup. I like to filter. I like to do all the equalization stuff before dynamics. So filter, EQ, dynamics. I don't know why. That's just how my brain has always worked, and I just like to know that I'm filtering and cutting out any of the nasty stuff so my compressor doesn't pick that up. That's just the way I like to think about it. Um, but then after those two, we have this LA2A. If you watched my videos before, you know I love this thing.
stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe. Yeah. Draw the blinds open wide, I wanna be seen. Take another Polaroid of me, baby.
So obviously we're gonna get a gain jump. No, no hiding that. But another thing too, and I think I've talked about this before. I like specifically the silver because it adds a little bit of sheen, a little bit of shine, just the way I guess the harmonics work. Because comparing this to the gray compressor, which I also have in my template, I like to use the LA2A gray compressor, but specifically for bass, just because this one to me just a little bit brighter and has a little bit more harmonics. Maybe it doesn't. That's just the way I hear it, at least this version of the plugin. But the gray is also a good option as well. But like I said, I like to use that on bass a little bit more. So besides a little bit of gain boost, definitely adding some sheen harmonics to it and just another way to keep that vocal a little bit more leveled, bringing out like some of the low parts.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with
So
long.
yeah, just giving him a more consistent performance. Obviously, that's typically what a compressor is going to do. It's just going to bring up those low parts to meet those, parts that are a little bit higher or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just SSL, de-ess, those are my main things. And then we have the sweeteners, tube tech, probably doing a little bit of compression. I just like this, just a tone box purely. I think this is one of the few compressors that's emulated off of something real besides the LA2A and the SSL, I guess, that genuinely sound like a real tube tech, in my opinion.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe.
So you can see, still have my own preset vocal start, maybe 2 dB at the most, it seems like. 4-to-1 ratio, attack and release pretty much all the way up. I do have it in manual mode, so that should obviously mean that I just have full control over attack and release. And like I said, just mostly, I don't know, it just sounds like a soft blanket, if that makes sense. Like, it just sounds very much what tubes do, in my opinion. Maybe it's placebo, I don't know. But I just think it sounds, just adds something tubey, if that's a real word, to signals and stuff, and it sounds great on vocals. And another reason too, I have another compressor besides for tone. It's just if I need more volume, I can push into these other plugins a little bit more. For instance, the next plugin is our harmonic saturation plugin, aka the little radiator. Another preset of mine, just 50%, 50% on the heat. So basically just an even amount of both the saturation types, and because lower or higher depending on which way you turn the knob, and I just want a little bit of blend of that. So that's another reason I like to have this tube tech behind, is because it allows me to push a little bit more if needed. And yeah, just another stage of gain if I need it, pretty much. And yeah, so little radiator, let me play it without it.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe.
So yeah, with that, just a little bump in the mid range, and that's pretty much what I look for when it comes to saturation. And I just think the little radiator does that. I can't talk. It's like 2 in the morning right now. And then I have a limiter. Said this before. I don't have any specific reason that I chose this. I think I just randomly chose it, and I just think it works great. It's just the PSP twin limiter. Nothing too fancy. Just a good old transparent limiter. I don't think it's transparent. It's supposed to be. Maybe it is, but to me it does, and I just need a limiter.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe. Stories high, stories high in the sky. Stories high in the sky. Stories high in the
So
sky.
yeah, especially like you can hear with the high, just clipping it, essentially keeping it in its place. Obviously not in an aggressive way, but it's just things like that. Anything that the compressor is not catching, or any of the compressors, I guess in this case, it's just saying, "Hey, don't go past this part." Just being a limiter. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's doing. But um, then after that, I have the Spectre by Waves Factory. Talked about this preset before. I literally almost never change it. This is just me trying to emulate a little bit more of an expensive microphone as best as possible. Obviously, depending on the track, it'll change, but I just kind of always have like C12, C800, U47 kind of headspace, and I think that this does a good job of being able to emulate those microphones. Um, Obviously, that's not what this plugin is geared towards. It's just a straight up saturation EQ, but that's just how I like to think about it when I'm using it, and it's just very helpful.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know
And
can.
then obviously, like I mentioned before, because it was, recorded by the artist himself and stuff, um, I'm sure he doesn't have, it doesn't sound like it at least, doesn't have a C800 or C12 laying around. So this is just me trying to enhance the quality and fidelity of something, in this case, the microphone or whatever. But obviously, we're just adjusting the vocals. But like I said, it's just a good way just to add a little bit more fidelity, I would say, to something. And I just find it very useful in vocals. And then other than that, I mean, just have a mono delay, slap delay, quarter note, half note that I'm not using. EMT, I'm specifically using the Arturia version. Dim D, I'm using the UAD Dimension D, and doubler, I'm using the Microshift by Soundtoys, and that's pretty much it. I mean, this is always at 20. This is always at 25 to 20. So, yeah, those are pretty much standard. Other than that, I mean, these are usually standard on there too, as well. And then after that, you have my template. This looks familiar. All my vocals show up to this. I like to call these buckets, but they all eventually get fed into this all vocal bus. I have an ensemble on there. I have a flanger. Well, this is crazy. So these plugins, even though I'm in full screen mode, you can see on the screen, when I used to open these, it would close full screen mode. It was so annoying, and I would have to stop the recording. I was prepping for it. So I don't know if Pro Tools had an update or something, but they're not doing it. But whatever. Side note. Ensemble and flanger, talked about this before in my template video. So go see that if you haven't seen it. It's a banger video. It actually popped off. I got these two things from Alex Toomey. I don't know if he still uses these, but I copied his presets and they never left. They do add a little bit of something. I think it was placebo because I didn't know what I was hearing for. But now now that I got some good ears, I can hear. I see the vision if he's still using it. If he's not, I'm still using it. So shout out to Alex. Um, so yeah, just ensemble, flanger, just presets, I think. I can't remember. And then I tweaked them from whatever his little video was. And then I have a Shadow Hills.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light is.
Another side note, obviously, this is just lead vocal. If we were in the chorus, we would hear BGVs, doublers, all going to there, and I can guarantee they are not going past 2 dB. That's the idea. I don't want to go past that. Sometimes I don't even want to go past 1. This is just an extra layer of compression and tone, because this version of the Shadow Hills compared to the standard green version, I'm talking about, the original, this is technically, I guess, the mastering version, which is kind of funny, or something like, yeah. So you can see Shadow Hills Class A mastering, whatever, even though technically the other one isn't. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to guess what the difference is, but apparently there's a difference. I do think that this one has more of a sound than the other one, so that's why I like to use this one, and I think it looks cooler. Kind of looks like a spider or something with the red. But anyways, I only use the discrete compressor section on here. I don't use the optical. I don't double up on the compression. Left it on steel. I don't know. In my opinion, I can't hear the difference, so it just stays on steel. Um, but I do think as a compressor, this does have more of a tone than the other one. And another thing too, I typically use a little bit of stereo widening. It looks like I didn't on here. Maybe I just felt like I didn't need it. Um, at the most, it's like 110. Sometimes I'll hit 115, but just a little bit more width that I add to all the vocals overall. It's not always used, but when I do, like I said, 110, 105, at the most 115. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Shadow Hills. And then just another layer of EQ. Like I said, this is going to look a little bit different because I don't have all the vocals playing at once. This would be more beneficial to like the chorus section or something when everything is hitting.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie. We know camera shows anything you want to, babe. Yeah, draw the blinds open wide, I wanna be seen.
So this thing is freezing up. My computer is cooking over there. I also have an M1. Do you guys feel like your M1? Did any M1 OGs out there? I think it's specific plugins. I was reading about it, which makes total sense because when I have Pro Tools open a fresh session and I'm cooking beats or something, this computer is totally fine. But as soon as I start mixing, and I don't even use a lot of plugins, you can see not everything is filled. One of these companies does not have optimized versions for M1. So if you're one of these companies, you haven't done it, fix your thing because you're cooking my computer right now. But anyways, yeah, let me know in the comments below. Is anybody's M1 slowly feeling like an Intel in a way? I think I might have to get the big boy soon or whatever, finally upgrade. But otherwise, it's still a great computer. It doesn't slow down. Obviously, there's a little visual thing, but I think this is just a plugin. It might be plugins like this, to be honest. But anyways, we hear there's a huge difference.
Stories high in the sky, we can hide away. Private eye, city light, espresso with lingerie.
So vocals get airier because we're taking out more low mids. Just like I said, when all the vocals hit in the chorus, it's going to be even more beneficial. But even on the lead, it's super beneficial. You can hear just taking out more of those low mids, a little bit of upper mid range. That's also could be where the S's live as well. So it's just another final layer of EQing the vocals as a whole, which is why I like working this way eventually when I get to this point of mixing, is because you still want to treat everything as a whole. But I just like to do it individually instead of just having all music, all drums, and all vocals. I like working this way. I just want as much control as possible. But you can hear and see that I'm using dynamic EQ. I like dynamic EQ. I think it sounds more natural, especially when there's proximity going on in the performance. If you want to retain that, I think dynamic EQ is the way to go instead of just using a standard static EQ or whatever. So, yeah. And I love this EQ, this Kirchhoff EQ. Any EQ will work. I just like any EQ that has dynamic EQ points in it or whatever that you can do. And yeah, that's pretty much it, dude. That is it. That's vocals. It started off as de-essing, but I just also went through my little vocal chain and my thought process and stuff, which doesn't really change often. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, hopefully I'm gonna be able to do a full breakdown of this mix of every little thing that I can. Talk about my template a little bit more, because this isn't far off from what's on sale. Everyone's templates are always changing and stuff. And yeah, so if you want to see that, subscribe. If you're new here, turn on notifications so you get notified. If you bought a template, you're most likely on my email list, so I'll send out emails on there. Feel free to unsubscribe if you want. I'm never gonna send anybody any promotion emails or anything like that. Just straight up YouTube videos when I drop that. But I gotta even set that up, so that might not even be out. But anyways, let me know if you have any questions below. buy plugins through my affiliate links. It would help me a lot. Use Zzounds, whatever the heck their name is. I should know. But that's where I bought my Apollo. No specific reason. I think they just have a closer warehouse to here in Chicago, so I always get stuff way quicker, even though Sweetwater is like right over in Indiana. For whatever reason, they have like excellent delivery. So I don't know if you're in the Midwest, maybe think about choosing them. And they are super helpful. Always answer the phone and stuff like that when I need help. Not getting paid to say that. I wish I was, but just being straight up honest about it. So, anyways, check out all my links, all that stuff in there. Check out this track. Be on the lookout for mixing video. I'll see you Monday. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below, and maybe I'll answer them. Follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 1,500. I'm trying to match my subscriber count. Anyways, I'm out of here. Peace.